kick it off?
I think we just kicked it off,
Okay.
but you can double kick it
What's
off.
up, guys? Double Kickoff podcast number 16 with my buddy, my client, Joey Cosentino, and of course, the wonderful Eric Lubitsky. We
Hello,
got another
everyone.
treat for you today. We are going to talk with Joey about his story and, just hear transformation happening, right?
Right. Joey, where are you located right now?
Right now, I'm in Auburn, Alabama, college
Auburn,
town.
college
You
town of
know,
Auburn. Nice.
less than 2
They've
weeks.
won a national championship lately.
I guess. Yeah, I'm not a football
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, I guess. Who knows?
The
But,
students are about to come back, so the town's about to be doubled in size, and it's
Got
a fun
it.
place to live. I lived here before in my 20s for 7
Got
years.
it. Got it. Cool. Very cool. Yeah, we're having a beautiful day. Probably an Alabama day. 85, sunny,
Beautiful
beautiful.
day.
Not a cloud in the sky. It's gorgeous. So Joey, welcome, and
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited to hear your story. I actually don't know it. Jeremy's been your life coach that you guys found each other online and started the relationship back in March, and it's a life coaching engagement, if you will.
Yeah.
that you
It
guys-
actually started off as health coaching, but we kind of veered into the life aspect pretty fast, right?
Got it.
And Joey will talk about that.
Got it. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then, man, so it started in March. Right now it's July, so it's 5 months.
Yeah.
April, May, June, July, 4.5 months.
Yeah. It's going to be about 4.5 months.
Nice.
Why do I
nice.
feel like I've known you longer, though? Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, I do feel like
I feel like I've known you longer.
That's a good thing. That's a
maybe
that's a
that's
testament to a
maybe
good
that's how we
relationship.
connected, right? We knew each other in a past life or something.
probably.
So thank you again for being on the podcast. This is podcast 16 for us of many. We've had a few testimonial call podcasts that have gone really well, and our clients, and now who have become friends, have really opened up, and we've heard some of the feedback from them as far as inspirational stories, and yours will definitely be that, especially when people hear what you are now doing, which is amazing. But let's tell people the story, and by all means, feel free to share what you're willing to share, and what you want to hold confidential between Jeremy and you. Will always stay confidential, but I've heard a little tidbits here and there, mostly just of the good stuff, but can't wait to really dive a little deeper and hear what the last 4.5, 5 months have been like for you, and the new direction in life, and how you got there, and so on. But let's start with what events led you made a decision to Google him, or search for him, or search for health coaching, life coaching. What was going on at the time? How did you find Jeremy?
I was close to finishing up my certification through Health Coach Institute, the Become a Health Coach, Health and Life certification.
Amazing.
And I don't know, I think there was just a suggestion on Instagram or Facebook. I think we have mutual friends through HCI. I just clicked on your page and saw that you were a coach too, and watched a couple of your videos. I was like, something about your story resonated with me. And I was like, my weight is not exactly where I want it to be. I gained a little bit of weight. Just quick backstory. I was 357 at one point. I'm only like 5'7". And then I started losing weight on my own, lost about 112, gained like 45 back, then decided to have weight loss surgery. So I'm close to my 2-year anniversary, August 26th of 2019. I had a gastric sleeve. And so I'd gotten down to like 174. The day of surgery, I was 259. I got down to like 174. And then I met somebody and we started seeing each other. And I hear that when that happens, people kind of ease up on their diet and everything. So I gained a little bit of weight, and I just was thinking, I'd like to work with a coach and see what it's like. And seeing that he came through Health Coach Institute.
Yep.
Just reached out to him. We did like a 15-minute call, and he decided to coach me. So
Nice.
just something about his story resonated with me.
Cool.
And I initially thought I was going there to really talk about weight, and then we realized very quickly that, the truth is I know how to lose weight. I know how to get this extra 25 pounds off. But for me, it was like I had to come full circle. I had to lose all the weight, gain some back, deal with the panic and the anxiety about the number on the scale, and then just come to a place where I had to just be confident in who I am, what I look like. I mean, I'm nowhere near where I used to be. I had gotten to a point where I was so sick and unhealthy. I had rheumatoid arthritis, but didn't know it. I couldn't, stand or walk for longer than 5 minutes. So knowing I'd come from that place and really coming from a place where I really thought I'd never walk again to being totally healthy now. I'm not the weight I want to be, but life is so much bigger than that.
Sure.
I just had to come to a place where I was okay with being, in my mind, fat. To people that knew me before, I'm completely different. But the weird thing is that I'm comfortable. I put it on myself that I'm on the couch. I'm like, oh man, this shirt's a little tighter around the belly. Like I'm doing that to myself all day, but
Right.
I can walk, like moving. I was going up and down the stairs. I wasn't even out of breath when I moved to Auburn in June.
Yep.
So I look at all these things and realized very quickly, we talked about it, like, you know what to do to lose weight. And I just felt like very quickly the coaching wasn't really about losing weight. So my weight is a big thing in my life.
Sure.
And like I remember our first coaching, he started talking about, you already are that person and it's already in existence. I had no idea what he was talking about. And then like a week later, I randomly had a thought one Sunday to look up law of attraction. And I come from a Christian faith and I was like, law of attraction. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Just literally a random Sunday morning. And I looked it up. I had Amazon Prime open. I looked it up. I rented it. And everything has been different since then. I watched it like 15 times that day. I had no money, but was like, I have a few dollars. I want to get something at Dunkin' Donuts. So I went to get a coffee and get dinner. And I had a $20 bill. I don't even know why I'm telling you this, but I'm just going to tell you anyway. I had a $20 bill. And I was like, I want to really practice generosity. I want to see this law of attraction thing in action. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give the kid at the window. He was really great. This kid at the Dunkin' Donuts window. I'm like, I'm going to give this kid $20. And of course it was weird the way it happened, the way my life is. Things are never normal. I had to pull into a parking spot, wait for him to bring the food out. And the whole time, like, all right, just give him the 20. Just say something like, hey, I don't know why, but I feel like I need to bless you with this 20. And I forced myself to do it. And it wasn't about the money. It was about just listening to that intuition.
Yep.
And so very quickly, our coaching became talking about law of attraction, manifesting, just believing in how big and grand things really are, and getting out of the focus of this little small piece of life that we're living and all the day-to-day anxieties, but believing in something bigger. And things have drastically changed. I had this thought right before we started talking. Sometimes like things manifest very quickly. Like Jeremy, I was like, oh, I want to work with a coach, and he popped up.
Right.
And then I don't even think I told you this, Jeremy, last week when we talked, but I've been like, the thing with me in coaching is that, yes, I like coaching people one-on-one, but I don't know where this idea keeps coming in that the coaching for me might be different and bigger than that, because honestly, I'm struggling to find one-on-one clients. And I had this thought, like, I'm a good public speaker and I like speaking publicly and I want to tell my story. And then just like instantly now I'm having
you're on a podcast
story. And I was pretty nervous before we started. I'm like, well, this is what you kind of asked God for. You asked
right.
for
and I asked you right after you had that thought. You see how things work? Yeah, it's great. It's great.
And then Jeremy asked me to do this now. And then leading up to it, I forgot that I told you that. And then leading up to it, just I think yesterday, it's like, well, you asked for an opportunity to speak and tell your story. So here's the opportunity. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to get out there and do it.
100%.
That's just a little bit of the backstory.
So I don't know if you've seen, we have a couple podcasts from a guru on the topic of vision creates reality. And I saw this speaker speak 16 years ago and hung on to the pamphlet Like that's how awesome it was. And I just always hung on to it. And I pulled it out. I Googled him. I found him. And I'm like, can you be on our podcast and talk about it? Because we're very much, positive thinking equals positive realities, right?
Yeah,
It's not just vision creates reality, it's positive visions create positive realities. And guess what negative visions create?
yeah. Trust me,
Negative reality.
forget
so
it.
so
Negativity was my life before.
perfect. And thus Zero Doubt Club. Why is our name Zero Doubt Club? That's the whole premise of I don't have time. I don't have money. I can't work out. I'm too tired. That's all negative talk that you talk
Yeah,
yourself into. And when you finally do get out and when you finally do spend some money, when you do make the time or find the time, you never regret it is the point. And you get
exactly.
more confidence and zero doubt and good habits manifest, and you're just such a amazing prime example of that. So congratulations. This
Thank
is
you. Yeah.
what a story so far. This is awesome. And I can relate to you on, again, I've been through a transformation too. I've lost 50 pounds, and we were recording these stability ball workouts the other day, and I'm looking at it and going, I still kind of look a little fat, and I still have that belly.
He did say that.
And Jeremy was quick to say, dude, you're on a stability ball doing planks in the middle of a park,
Making
like
a video.
making a video
Right.
to inspire others on it and whatever else. And you're worried about a little bit of fat. And after you've just dropped 50, like
Right.
when that sunk in. So thank you for smacking me with reality.
And it's going to be a great video
It's going to be a great
released very
video,
soon
and
here.
and again, the next time I make it, maybe I won't have that fat, or maybe it'll be
It
less. But
just
but
doesn't
again,
matter.
I totally relate to you feeling that a shirt might still be too tight and
Yeah.
forgetting about the big picture of, oh my God, what did I look like even 8 months ago? And
Yeah.
how many compliments I got yesterday from friends that I haven't seen in a while, and whatever else that we quickly forget. And we're still caught in that negative self-talk that
Hmm.
we need a coach. We need that daily inspiration and daily good habits to get that negative self-talk out of, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Any
Yeah,
other
it's I'm learning to recognize it.
right.
Yeah,
Oh,
so go ahead. Go tell more about your story.
yeah, so I grew up with parents that were very poor, and I'm the youngest of six. I have five older brothers,
Wow.
and so we didn't
Six
really have a
boys.
lack. But
Wow.
then I hit like 10 years old, and then the word problems came in, and then that's all my parents had from that point on were problems. Just everybody had problems, and I went from having everything to then, not having dinner or going hungry. And then my parents would get money and then it would be gone. And, you know, they had their problems, and that money talk became the money story, which I learned through our coaching program. I'd never even thought of anything like that. Just that we have a money story. And so that's something that's been coming up. And I realized that on repeat, all day long there were just this constant barrage of negative thoughts taking over my life. It's almost like I'm on the outside looking in, and now I could see people that are living in that place and they don't even realize it. I mean, I used to be very, very negative. I mean, really, really negative. Always expected the worst. And then, through the coaching and learning about law of attraction, I'm realizing that I'm able to stop myself now when the negativity comes and recognize, hey, this isn't right. This isn't true. Things have always worked out in the past. So I think that's where the work comes in, like the day to day work. When the
Right.
negative thoughts come up
Hmm.
about how fat and ugly I am, I have to stop and say, wait, remember what you looked like 5 years ago when you couldn't even stand in the grocery store for 5 minutes?
Right.
When the anxiety about money comes up, I have to stop myself and think, wait, remember all those other times in the past when things came through at the last minute when you had no way and a way was made. So I think
Right.
that's part of the work, like the day-to-day work, is when the negative things come up. Whereas normally they used to just be normal, just how I was feeling, and I would just go with it. Now I could stop myself and say, wait, this is not going to lead to anything positive. But I can look at the thought, recognize the negative thought, and then kind of like dissect it in a way, break it down and say, you know what, I'm appreciative that I'm concerned about my life, but I know that this time this worked out and that time that worked out. And that's how I feel like we're able to really transform our mindset. And I mean, I really feel like even the person I was just a year ago is completely different than who I am now. And a lot of it goes back to the positivity and remaining in that positive mindset where you could be happy if your bank account is negative 42 cents, you know, where you can like genuinely have joy and excitement and know that there's a plan for you and things are working out even when there literally is no plan. Like the apartment I'm sitting in, like you see, I don't have curtains yet or curtain rods. The apartment's bare. Before I moved to Auburn, my brother told me about this complex. I applied and I didn't have a job to put on the application. And I was like, I don't know. I just feel like that's where I'm going to live. And then I'm here, you know?
Right.
I just kind of
Sounds like you've learned a lot of gratefulness too. That the
Oh yes,
gratefulness
yeah.
is what helps you get over the negative talk, and that's a Jeremy stamp of
Well, Joey, tell everyone why you moved and left your job.
Well, I just was getting to the point where I was tired of that particular job. My direct manager was a micromanager, and you know, they would call center work is very overwhelming in a way.
Yep.
And when you're working for a major health insurance company and talking to people all over the world, pretty much, call center work, they want a lot and they keep adding for what they want you to do, but they don't really give you many resources to do it. They just keep adding and adding and adding, and it's never enough. And then last September, somebody had sent me a link to Health Coach Institute. So I started the program, and then very quickly, as we came to the end of the year, I was like, I can't do this job much longer. There has to be more to life than just this miserable job where I'm just getting paid. I'm just existing. Like there has to be more. And then also just like the living situation, the apartment I was in, I just wasn't happy with it anymore. There was nothing in that particular part of upstate New York. Like there was really nothing there. Imagine living in a place where there's not even a DoorDash option, no restaurants. It was just very bleak. I was getting tired of the cold. And then I just was thinking, you know, my ultimate goal is to move to Franklin, Tennessee. And I was like, well, two of my brothers are in Auburn right now. I've lived there before. Maybe that'll be a good transition just to get out of where I was. And then I just made the decision. Once I made the decision, everything kind of fell into place, even though right before the move, like things were really chaotic and very stressful. And so I just found myself here. I like Auburn. I've been to this area. There's a lot of sunshine. You know, there's a lot of movement down here. The city is really growing. I just felt like there'd be more opportunities. That's pretty much what led me here, was just getting tired of where I was and what was happening, but also choosing to believe that there's a next chapter that I need to just step into. And I just stepped into it and really have no idea how things are going to work out right now. I'll be honest with you, not even the slightest idea.
And what's wrong with that, right? How do you feel now versus when you had that call center job 8 months ago?
I mean, the call center job was just, the word that comes to mind is suffocating. And don't get me wrong, I'm very thankful. Like that job saved me at a really dark time in my life. And I was very thankful and very grateful for it. But I could be thankful and grateful for that job and not do anything for the rest of my life. And I'm not saying that there's something wrong with it, but I didn't want to be a 51-year-old, just a call center rep for $1 billion company, you know, not even making $25 an hour. I didn't want that to be my life. Like there has to be more to life than that.
Right.
And I feel like I had so much more to give and so much more to offer. And going back to the gratefulness, I did want to mention that. So that day that I watched The Secret, I was reminded, of course, that Jeremy was talking about starting my day off with gratitude. And that's something I did periodically throughout the years. When I got overwhelmed, I would just sit and make a list of things I could be grateful for and thankful for. But the day I watched The Secret, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And so today is day 127 of making an intention that every day I would set aside time in the morning or whatever time I woke up, but before I started my day, to just sit and be grateful. And I write down 5 things every day that I'm thankful for. And today's, yeah, I write down the day too. So around day 85, I'm like, let me start writing down the days so I know how long I'm doing this.
That's
And
awesome.
then, I mean, you just calculate 127 times 5. And even if I've already done that morning meditation, if I feel myself getting overwhelmed, I just stop and I'm like, wait, just let's start looking around at how much I have to be thankful for. I don't know the next thing that's coming, but I can look back at all the other things that have shown up when I least expected it.
So give a couple of examples of what gratitude has brought you.
Well, gratitude brought me down here, got me out of that job. Uh, I mean, just uh, give me an example. What exactly are you
Remember
meaning?
how a couple times like you just had money show up?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So that's the other thing. That's something I'm working with right now. I'm reminding myself, I mean, there were times right before I moved when little things happened, like putting on a pair of jeans I hadn't worn in a year and there was $10 in the pocket. You know, people, I make candles. I haven't done it since I moved in because I don't have my supplies, but I make candles, like just having people buy candles from me,
Uh-huh.
friends taking me out to dinner before I moved and giving me cards with money. Like money is just showing up. So money is a big thing that Jeremy and I talk about because, my old money story was that we're poor and people like us, we don't get ahead. And that's just like, that's ingrained in you. And I realized yesterday, because I'm trying to encourage myself, because I'm beating myself up over the fact that I'm feeling anxious lately. And I reminded myself, and maybe I didn't, maybe it was just God reminding me that I had 41 years of conditioning. That's not just going to be erased in 4 months, five
Sure.
months. That takes work when you lived a certain way for so long and everybody around you lives that way. It's hard to see a way out. And so I put a lot on myself, but I'm reminding myself that it takes work. It's 41 years of things I have to unlearn and relearn. But yeah, just being grateful and choosing to believe, because that's the other thing, is that I had to make the decision that I deserved a better life, and I had to make that choice to choose positivity, to choose goodness, to choose love, to choose joy. And by making that choice and believing those things, I'm seeing those things happening.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think there's a saying out there that the harder you work for something, the more grateful you are for it. So it's setting up that extreme gratefulness. And if something just comes by, you're not as grateful. But when you're making these life-changing decisions, moving from New York to Georgia, quitting a stable job,
Yeah.
chasing a passion of life coaching, like these are amazing miracles. Like they're if somebody would have told you that maybe 5 years ago, you'd laugh. You'd be like, "There's zero chance," right? And just to come over these, it's almost like momentum that you're building,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
So it's the needed momentum that
Not
you're
living in
building.
fear. That's what he's
Not
not doing
right,
anymore.
right, right,
That's what
and building
we
that
all went through or
momentum that
going
big
through.
good things are happening and about to happen, and
Mhm.
he's grateful for and it is work. you know you didn't just wake up in Georgia. You didn't just wake up with a life coaching certification. Like, it takes
No,
work,
yeah.
and it takes some big decisions, and it's amazing, and how many people out there don't do that. They're stuck in their jobs for forever. uh, we call them jail jobs, right? They just feel like
Right, right.
they're
Yeah, you're dying
reporting
for a paycheck.
reporting to jail every day, or yeah, they're just slowly dying inside and not making these major important decisions in their lives. Life is
based,
short
yeah, because of fear.
because of fear, because they're ungrateful, because they're negative self-talk. I mean, the list goes on of negative stuff versus positive
And
stuff,
again,
and
it's no one's fault. It's just the conditioning of the mind.
right,
That's it. Like
right,
you said,
and
40 some
generations of
years,
it,
generations of it. Exactly. The
generations of it.
money story could be hundreds and hundreds of generations. I mean,
Yeah.
in fact, if you think the money story is deep in everyone, because unless your family was rich, millionaires, everyone's got a money story.
Of course they do. Of course they do. Um, Man, uh, again, Joey, congratulations, man. You're
Thank you.
above and beyond many people, and inspiring to many people that that they might have more money than you, but they're not happier, they're not in a better place, they're not inspired or they don't have momentum built yet. They're at ground zero of getting out of this negative self-talk. So you're that momentum is climbing for you.
Yeah.
You can see it, you can hear it,
Yeah.
and it's coming for you, and you're grateful for your non draped windows and your
Yeah. I'm grateful
and
for the apartment.
yeah, it's great.
Definitely a step up from where I was.
Awesome. Awesome. So Jeremy, so the first time you talked to him, what was your thinking? What was the goal? What from your experience?
So, I mean, again, everyone's different with every conversation. Joey called me regarding losing that extra 30, 40 pounds, and something about how the conversation went and went straight into, look, drop all the nonsense. You're going to believe in yourself because you have it in you. And he was close, and I could see it in him. That's why we didn't even have to talk about cutting carbs or fat or don't eat this, don't eat that, because I could kind of tell in his eyes that he didn't need that. And what he needed was just to kind of hear the basics of what we all need to do, and that's practice gratitude, journaling. How do we step over fear or around fear? And that's basically all we're doing here is we're stepping around fear and moving on to the next point.
Right.
And I don't know, I just kind of saw it in him. Like every conversation is different. I guess that's what being aware and staying present and being a good listener and what ultimately you want to do as well, and you're doing it, and being a life coach is all about. You just kind of, everything is inside of us, right? We know that. And it's just being conscious and aware and seeing what that person needs to hear.
Right. And you are articulate. I could see a future in speaking roles
Yeah.
and
Yeah, and
I'm
he's
and
a
having a
so
little
writer.
trouble hearing Eric.
so it's realistic. I said that you are articulate and you are
Oh, thank you.
uh, um, articulate and engaging, I would say. So it's not a far-fetched goal, right? It's not a guy that's talking like this and I want to speak state into stadiums type goal,
Yeah.
right? It's this is attainable, it's reachable, you're already doing it. Here's a podcast now that not only we will use to inspire people, but hopefully you will. And yeah, that's cool. So initial goal was to lose weight. It quickly turned into the self-talk, the negative self-talk,
Yep.
and it sounded
And
like
law of attraction.
he was already starting the gratefulness type exercises. You helped cement that, would you say, Joey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeremy just pretty much reminded me to do that. And I was like, that's true. I've done that in the past. It wasn't something I did every day. But when he mentioned it, I wanted to, because right after I think we had our first meeting, I think it was the next week or within 2 weeks that I saw The Secret around there. So it was very quickly that we started talking, and then that just kind of fell. I mean, literally, the thought fell into my mind out of nowhere. It was just a random Sunday.
That's awesome.
I was looking for something to watch or do, and then I immediately got a notebook and started taking notes and watched it like 10 times that day at least. And I want to say, because this is in my mind, one thing Jeremy wanted me to do was to sit down and think of a list of 100 things that I've accomplished, or things that, how did you phrase it? Things that I've accomplished or overcame.
Yep.
And I worked on that list a lot. I got pretty close to, I think I got to like 82 or something. And then just looking at that, like the sheer amount of things that I've overcome and accomplished in life, and coming from a place where I'm thinking, as I was about to turn 40, I'm 41 now, I'll be 42 in November. As I was about to turn 40, I was just like riddled with thoughts of, what the F have I done with my life? I've done nothing. I've impacted nobody. I have nothing. I have nobody. I mean, at the time, I thought I was in love with somebody that was a total asshole. Excuse my language. Not sure I'm
Okay,
going to say
we
that.
get it.
We can
get
do that here.
it.
What was that?
We can say that here. It's
Yeah,
okay.
this isn't
Oh, okay.
public television. Don't worry.
Thank you. And you just looking at that, man, I was such a mess. And then to go from that to this, just realizing that you know what? I do have a story. I do have things to say. I do have more to offer this world because, leading up to 40, just this barrage of feeling like I have nothing, like I've done nothing. And then when Jeremy had me do that list, I was able to go back and look at so many moments in my life when things were really, really bleak. I mean, really bleak and really dark. And I had nothing. And my family was a mess. And I had no support. I mean, just random things. People would just show up and, give me things or offer me opportunities. And, you know, I just was able to look back. And that I think is a good foundation when you could take a step back from your life and really think, what are 100 things that I've overcome or things I've accomplished in life? And then when you start looking at it, it's like, man, okay, so you know what? My life hasn't been just one big void of nothing.
Right.
All of those things, I'm sure, are things that I can talk to other people about, people that have hit rock bottom. And, I'm coming to a place where I don't use words like I hope or I wish or things like I just say, I know I have a story and I know that there are people out there that can benefit from my story.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to mention that exercise that Jeremy had me do because I then
Yeah,
created
and
a sheet for it myself, and I plan on giving that out to people.
yeah, because everyone's got that power in them to help someone else. So when you think, oh, I haven't done anything or I can't do anything, make a list. Make a list of 100 things you've done or accomplished and can help someone else to do.
100%. 100%. We quickly forget because again, and you live longer in life and you start realizing we all, because of our egos, we think our positives outweigh our negatives, and it's not. The negatives outweigh the positives, and we forget the positives because the negatives just stick there. So
Mhm.
teaching yourself to get over it,
Well, yeah, well,
and the exercise of gratitude and things you have accomplished is very scientific for your mind to outweigh the negatives
Yeah.
is the whole point.
right.
And that's the science between between just thought and action and everything, and that's the momentum that you hope to build, or I shouldn't say hope, that you are building. And man, it's great. So the this is great, and again, it sounds like a lot of work, and it sounds like it's paying off. What's next for Joey?
Honestly, I'm not really sure. I had this idea to start coaching with weight loss and helping people with that because that's a huge part of my story.
Okay.
And, the thing is, for me, weight loss happened when I released an emotional weight, when I was able to get rid of an emotional weight. And so when Jeremy was like the second of three people that were like, hey, maybe when you start your coaching, you should start with weight loss and people that have had surgery or thinking about surgery. When Jeremy was like the second of three people, I'm like, oh, maybe this is something I should be focusing on right now to start my coaching business. So right now I'm looking to start a group in my area, like a support group kind of thing, but it will really be structured almost like a group coaching
Yep.
where I talk to people about weight loss and people that are pre and post bariatric surgery. So I'm just, looking for a place to meet. I have a bunch of people interested already, but don't have a place to meet yet.
Yep. Got it. That's cool.
Oh, you'll have that place in no time.
I believe. So that's one thing I want to do because, like I said earlier, I was thinking about coaching, and it's like I went into Health Coach Institute, went into that program thinking that coaching would be this particular way, but the way my life goes, things are usually never ordinary. They're always different. The most random things happen to me. I mean, really, like really random. And so I was thinking, and I finally, it was actually even just last week that I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna just go with this thought and not say, who are you to speak publicly? Who the hell wants to hear from you? I just kind of surrendered to that. I was like, you know what? I feel like for me, coaching, I feel like I would really come alive in a group setting or on a stage, speaking to a large group of people, and being able to just tell a story from beginning to end. And I think that that's something that would be better for me as a coach. I'm obviously open to one-on-one coaching, and I love talking to people one-on-one. But that's where I'm right now. I'm waiting for that opportunity. So I think the group setting would be the best way for me to use my gifts and my talents and reach multiple people at the same time.
Joey, I have a comment for you that was a little epiphany for me over my this past 8-month transformation. Maybe your life isn't so random. Maybe you were just so clouded by the negative talk in your life that you never saw things or opportunities. Maybe things are now falling into place because again, the vision, the faith, the confidence, the positive self talks
Mm-hmm.
that's happening. That was an important vision for me too. As I was
Start connecting the dots and you see nothing is random.
you start
Yeah.
connecting a lot more dots. You see that someone out there has a plan for all of us,
That's true.
and they put enough things in front of you. If you're clouded and you're not looking for it, in fact, you're doing everything against it. Um, Things aren't happening. So again, I think it's for I think the randomness you're feeling is these daily miracles that are happening that you feel are miracles that happen to people that do awaken, that
Yeah.
do see their purpose for the first time super clear in their minds, and who they really are as a person and who they should be and how to affect people. And it looks like you're there, which
And
is
that's a really great way to explain it. I do see my purpose now. I do feel like this is what I should have been doing. I mean,
nice.
I'm writing books and things like that. And I know I have a story to tell, and I'm just waiting for opportunities to tell that story. But yeah,
It's fascinating because I think of the millions of 300 plus pounders that are out there that aren't doing anything,
yeah,
and they're
and
just
that was
getting
me.
worse, and yeah, it was you until it wasn't you. Right? And but it's still them is the point. And it's still, for you it was weight, for somebody else it was eating, for somebody else it was drinking, for somebody else it was a shitty job that they stay in, for some man, there's a million reasons to be negative, right?
Mhm.
And that's the point, is that you made this movement and you seeked out, Jeremy, and now you want to help people that seek out and help them. And you definitely have a story to tell. It's
And we're
amazing.
just
It's
getting
amazing.
started. You'll speak at a Zero Doubt Club shortly. So warm up with your group.
Yeah, I want to. I have a story I want to tell. This is really the beginning of this whole journey to growth and self-discovery. So I don't know why it's in my mind. I'll just tell you. So I think I told you this story, Jeremy, and I think I posted about this on Instagram. So there was this day. It had to be, yeah, a little more than 5 years ago. At this point, I was 357. My body was failing. I was pre-diabetic. I had high blood pressure, fatty liver.
Right. we
I would
we
have
know
those
the drill.
issues with my knees, my ankles, my feet. The undiagnosed rheumatoid. I didn't know what it was. I just thought it was because I was fat. And both of my parents had died at that point,
Wow.
within 2 years of each other. I was in a major depression. And I woke up on a Saturday and I knew I had a counseling session with this therapist I had started seeing for grief counseling. And I woke up and I had that inflammation in my knees and my feet, my ankles, and I really had a hard time walking. I took a shower. I sat down in the bed. I remember where I was because I left the little bedroom I was in. I was actually living with my parents at the time when they died, and I moved into their bedroom. So I'm sitting on their bed. Just the wave of grief was so fresh. My mother died unexpectedly. 2 years later, my father just deteriorated without her and died. And everything in me was like, man, just lay back down. Screw that counseling session. You're in pain. Just lay down. And it was almost like an audible voice. Something in me just said, no, you have to get up and fight. If you lay down, you're going to die. You're not going to get up. And I texted one of my nieces that lived at that same townhouse complex. I asked her if she had any leave or something. So I had to drive. Now imagine she lived in the townhouse right behind me and my parents and my brother. But I drove around there. I mean, I'm talking like 1,000 feet because I was in so much pain. I drove around the bend, took the leave, sat on her couch. I remember it was actually hard for me to even get out of couches at the time. And I went to that counseling session, and that therapist was able to just look on the outside looking in and was able to help me realize things are really bad and you're in a pit. She's like, but they're not as bad as you think. And that decision to get up and fight, that was the day that this whole journey started, was that day that I made that decision to get up and fight. Because I mean, honestly, I really want to just lay back down in that bed and just forget it and just blow off the session. And I looked at that point as a big turning point, because right after that, things really started changing. And they haven't, and the thing is, like, I can look back at the last 5 years and there are moments when I'm full of anxiety and stress, but I look back recently at the last 5 years, I'm like, wait, ever since that moment, things have steadily gone up. Am I where I want to be right now? No. Am I filled with some stress when I think about the day-to-day things? Yeah, I'm human, but things have steadily gone up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why would I start believing now that they're all just going to fall apart when I've been on this journey? And I just felt like that was a story I wanted to tell.
Yeah, no, that's a great story because you came to a point where you were conscious and present and aware of your current situation, and you looked at it and you faced it and you realized, okay, still alive, and wait a second, now I can take action to improve it. Kind of like know where you're at, know where you're going or your vision, and that
Right.
and that's what happened there.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's what Bodine,
Yeah.
the Velasco, the vision creates reality guru, when he teaches people on how to create visions that become realities, he always talks about, paint the vision, right? Like Picasso, what does that vision look like? But what's very important is you also write down your current circumstances, because you
Okay.
can't get anywhere without knowing where you're at.
Right. Right.
And then when you really look at those two, everything in the middle of what needs to get done starts filling in like a painting. It's your
Mhm.
painting. And it's really interesting the way that he
I like that.
paints this, and how he's, I mean, he's helped major corporations. He's done talks for, thousands of people, and yeah, he really dissected it,
Yeah.
broke
And that's
it
a
down.
perfect example
It's-
of one situation where
Right.
Joey was clear exactly where he's at.
Yeah.
So Joey, this has been great.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
And we would like to definitely have you on again. Can we do that?
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
90 days. What's going to happen in 90 days? What's Joey podcast 2 sound like?
90 days, I'll come back and tell you I'm working with a group and I have minimum of 6 one-on-one clients.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
6. Okay.
And
Group
I've had
coaching, public speaking. Nice. Absolutely.
So the group is alive. 6 public speaking.
6 clients.
6 clients.
Yep.
And a group. What else?
that I had some speaking opportunities. That's
Okay.
another thing I'd like to
Sounds
see
good.
in the next 90 days.
Is there a relationship?
I do have a relationship, yeah.
Oh, good. I thought you said X. So you
no,
had an Ex,
That
but
was
now,
another
okay,
person.
great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
that was 2 years of embarrassment. Yeah, just another story.
Save that for the book.
Yeah, I do have to save that for the book. Finding life and death. That was really the truth about my parents dying, is that, through their death, it's hard to say because it's hard to say something like that, but I feel like through their death I finally started living. It was them dying that sparked something in me where I was like, man, I really better start living now, because I mean, the reality is I could drop dead right now from an aneurysm or a heart attack. Nobody knows. Like, we know
Sure.
one thing, we're all gonna die.
Right.
I heard something a few months ago, right after I started watching The Secret. I don't even know who said it, but they were like, you can live 99 years or you can live the same year 99
99
times.
times.
I
Yep.
don't want to do that. I just,
Right.
Beautiful saying.
you know,
It's a great thing. Yeah.
Great saying.
so that's where I am right now, trusting, believing, and working on
Every
staying.
day's a new day. Every day's a gift.
Yeah, it's true. That's something that really sunk in recently.
So, man, yeah, thanks for gifting us for these past 40 minutes. It was amazing. And
Oh,
we
thank
will
you.
have you on again in 3 months or
Appreciate
so.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Joey,
Okay,
thank you
guys.
and
Yeah.
congratulations.
If anyone
and
has
keep it
any
up
questions,
and-
comments, or anything,
yeah.
feel free to reach
us.
out to us.
We'll tag Joey as well. So
Yes.
thank you.
All right.
Joey, nice meeting you, man.
Take care.
Hey,
Nice to
Joey,
see
tell
This was a
everyone
pleasure.
your Instagram. So if they want to look you up.
At Coach Joey Cosentino.
We'll
At
tag
Coach-
him. We'll
oh,
tag
yeah.
him. We'll
Sounds
tag
good.
him.
Okay.
We'll tag you. All good, man.
Take care, guys.
Okay. We'll
See ya.
talk to you
Have a
soon.
good one.
See you
Bye.
soon.